And good evening, good evening, good evening. And tonight we are live with Music Business and a Female's Touch. We have some wonderful women in the music business or that do business around the music industry. And we're going to have some awesome content tonight. So if you have any questions, please type them away and please like and subscribe and please share this. Thank you, everyone who's an awesome sharer out there. So please make some noise for we have Jody Joy. How are you, Jody?
Hello.
Yep,
Good
Alex.
evening, all.
And Tara.
Hi.
And
Hey.
Ray. And last but not least, hopefully not upside down, is Daniela. Hello, how are you?
Upside down.
Hi. Is she upside down?
Upside down.
Oh, she's upside down.
On Facebook and see she's upside down on Facebook.
Okay.
Daniela, just stand on your head.
No. So probably straight up, if we do who you are and what you do and where you do it. So here we go, Jody, over to you.
Sorry. Upside down. Hi, everyone. Well, you're not upside down for me, Danielle, so it's all good. I'm Jody Joy. You can see just down over there, my website. I'm a singer, songwriter. I'm also a vocal coach, and I run a music school as well, and I'm a mummy. And I used to be in events quite heavily, and I think that's what we're going to touch on some of that later on tonight too. So,
cool.
I look forward to chatting with you ladies. How exciting.
Very good. And we're going to go straight over to Alex for some intros. There we go, Alex. Hello, good evening.
Hey. Hey, yeah. People call me A-Ro. It's my very clever stage name. Alex Rowe put together. But it's also because I am a soul singer, but I actually used to be a battle rapper back in the day in Melbourne.
Wow.
It's true, I won a battle rap to hang out with Redman from Wu-Tang Clan, but I didn't know who he was, so they gave the prize to someone else. But so I'm getting my music back together, based in the Gold Coast, and I'm going to relaunch some beautiful tunes soon.
Okay, very good. Awesome. And we're going to go over to Tara here. Tara, good evening. How are you, Tara?
Very well. How are you going?
Yeah, good. And what do you do, and where do you do it?
So I am mum and manager, but not mummager, to Harry J. Hart.
Very good.
And I'm studying a Master of International Music Business. And through the work that I've done with Harry, I was nominated as Guardian of the Year finalist with the Industry Observer Awards a couple of years back.
Wow.
So I just like to take what I do, and I run a page called The Emerging Musician, where my goal is to support young emerging musicians at that point where essentially they're not viable for industry people to take them on in management or other roles, but they're at that point where they need to do a little bit more.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And we're going to go over to Ray Lee. Here we go, Ray.
Hi, how you doing?
Good morning. Good evening.
Good evening. Good morning to you if that's where you are.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it's drink time somewhere.
That was my point. That's okay.
I'm Ray Lee. I am a mum of 3 beautiful little kids, and I am a singer-songwriter and artist, really. So I also do a bit of acting and modeling, and I just love performing arts and working with creative people and doing things with my hands. So what do I do and where do I do it? Well, I mostly do a lot of things in my bedroom in a lot of different positions.
Oh,
wow. Okay. Well, now we're going to go to it straight over to Daniela. You have to follow that, Daniela.
I don't know how to segue from there. Hi, everyone. I'm Daniela Eon. I'm a creative catalyst, recording industry background for over 20 years, and slowly transitioned into online business coaching for entrepreneurs who need to have absolute confidence in front of the camera and sell their services. So my passion is to help launch online business women, especially using their message and creating services for humanity. It's a different kind of slant. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Well, welcome. And Daniela, where are you actually from? I don't think you said where you're actually dialing in from.
Oh, yeah. I'm in Sydney, Australia. New South
Sydney,
Wales.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool, because we already have some.
Australia.
Well, I'm glad you said that because we have a guest here from Alabama and USA, Jenny. So,
Oh, good.
Hey, Jenny.
yeah,
Hi, Jenny.
hey, Jenny.
Hey.
So probably,
Hey, Jenny.
I think, Daniela, you just touched on a great topic there about the message of the business, because I think that's, every successful company that I used to actually work for Apple. I've never actually told anyone online that back in the day. And they had a great mantra that they would follow. And I mean, it's an amazing company on the inside if anyone's been involved. Anyway, so the message of your business or being an artist. So if we just quickly go around and say, maybe Jody, if you want to go first, what's the message of what you're about?
Well, for me, I've tried to tie everything back to helping other aspiring artists do what they want to do. And through that, obviously, it gives me a lot of joy. So if that's, coaching them, giving them audition technique, I've done a little bit of reality TV myself. So I do get a few students wanting to come along for that sort of training. And when I'm not doing that, I'm, out there doing it myself, live performance. But one of my major passions at the moment that I'm wanting to work on is getting soul and adult contemporary music, pop opportunities for artists like myself in that genre to be able to perform on the Gold Coast. We have it in America. We have it in even Melbourne. I don't know so much Sydney. Daniela could probably tip in there, but I really want to create an event for adult contemporary soul pop artists that are either up and coming or quite established, but like a festival where this can be a platform out to a larger audience. Because if you are on the Gold Coast and you know much about Gold Coast to Brisbane, there's nothing.
Yep.
There's nothing for us as artists. And I have a lot of students that come to me. They have the same issues. I know Aro and I have connected in the past through a business course that we did together, and she has a similar issue. So we thought we'd like to sort of try and create this for the Gold Coast. And of course that would reach to Brisbane as well. So yeah, it's just something that's in the pipeline at the moment, and we're trying to get interest. We're trying to get interest from supporters, sponsors, other artists as well in the same sort of position, because you can go and do rockabilly, blues, country. There's so much available, Byron Blues Festival, Blues on Broadbeach. So, but how do you, as an artist in our genre, reach out to a larger audience and a larger platform without that available? So that's something I'm passionate about trying.
So this is good because the question went somewhere else. That's good. So my first point was
She's good.
Yeah. So the message in your music, but I guess what you just outlined there is a message of tonight. How do we get something off the ground? Like
her message is boss lady. She's a boss.
So what about you, Alex or Aro? What about you?
Well,
what's your message in your music? Where does your art come from, or business, so to speak?
Yes, so I'm currently an entertainment marketing lecturer.
Wow.
So
where's that at?
With JMC Academy in Brisbane, but via the internet.
Do you know Sean Foran? Do you know Sean Foran?
Jazz.
Yes.
Jazzy? Yes.
Yeah. Tell him Doug said hello.
We make jazz jokes at his expense.
He's an amazing player. Wow, that's cool.
He laughs along. Yeah, so JMC is awesome. I studied there when I came to Brisbane because I relocated 4 years ago from Melbourne, and I was blessed to have like a 15-year career as an original artist. So I would say my ethos as an artist is changing, because in Melbourne it was very I'm an independent artist. I was like a singer's singer, and I was a part of a lot of soul movement, soul music movements, like getting big stages, booking big stages and booking like 50 people and having a crew of event people, organizing the artists. And I did that as part of my degree. What I am trying to create here in the Gold Coast, through my energy and my efforts connecting with people, and then also through my music, is just raise the consciousness in the community about the ceiling for women. So I've created with two women that I've met, is music Gold Coast Women in Music Incorporated, so a not-for-profit for women in music in the Gold Coast. And that's a way for me and the other women that I created it with, Mandy and Sarah, to connect with the women in our local community and help express the talent that is basically undermined from generational patriarchy. And basically what it looks like is you get to a certain age and nobody's interested in working with you because you're of the age to be a mother.
Interesting. Right.
You're not marketable anymore, or you're not TikTok worthy.
I don't know about that.
Your logarithm's not gonna catch you because your hashtag mom, I'm past 25, so I can't get any of the grants. Past 35, so I can't get any of the federal grants. So I'm looking for a way to really shut down the experience for people coming after me, because my experience is I've been in the industry since I was 15. I released my first album at 15. And I'm still an emerging artist, and I'm still applying for professional development awards from APRA that basically Paul Kelly is also in the same category. And that's been that for the last 10 years. So my musical sound at the moment has shifted from, just soul singer, songwriter, writing independent songs about my personal experience to kind of like punk soul big band extraordinaire.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm looking for an all-girl big band, a 24-piece girl band.
I really like your message there about being independent, and you need to migrate to go and get support for a bigger movement. That's fantastic. And being a lecturer, that's so cool.
Well, my migration was a different thing, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, cool. So we're just talking about the message. And Tara, your message maybe about your business movement per se.
Yeah, so my message to anyone looking at, and it's not just music, it's any art or it's a life message really, is that success is subjective and it's individual. Right. And I think that's really important in the music industry more than anywhere else, because a lot of people believe that unless you win The Voice or are, Katy Perry, then you didn't make it. Right. But the reality is there are so many people that you've never heard of who are buying houses, making a healthy living, being, anonymous and successful in their day-to-day music careers. And the arts is a real job, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
and we need to teach young people that just because it's not a job where you require a piece of paper in order to do that job, that does not make it any less valid. In fact, it's just as important, if not more so. And it's taught as and this is my soapbox, is that it's taught as an art and not a vocation. And we need to change that mindset within schools.
Okay.
And what's vocation mean? Like hobby? Vocation? What does it mean?
A vocation is your work. Your work is your vocation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you want to do art at school, or a music at school, it's likely that you'll be taught, and this is a generalization, I'll just preface it with that, but that you'll be school teacher, music teacher. Yeah.
I'm a teacher.
So, yeah. So I a lot of kids come out of high school music with a direction of, I could go to the con if I'm going to follow this, and by the con I mean jazz or classical. I can't give you exact numbers, but basically it's 60-odd% music in high school is girls as students, yet the industry is 60-odd% men. So there's a massive disconnect between what's going on in schools and in the industry. So if we can marry those two things up and get a bit more balance, perhaps we'll start teaching to the people that are wanting to do this as a job, or maybe those people that are in there want to do a job but don't have a place in the industry at this point in time. And maybe it's because they never understood it to be a viable industry.
Very good.
Yeah, and I got that vision, I guess, from my kid's primary school music teacher, and what she did, she presented opportunities for those kids to sing the national anthem at the Gold Coast 600. They would go to Parliament House and sing. They would sing in backup choirs to Paulini and David DeVito. And so those kids were engaging with real working full-time musicians as a part of their youth, and as a part of, they weren't doing choir to go and sing in a Stedford. They were doing it for a greater purpose. And so it's Harry's primary school music teacher that he credits with the intention to have music as a career.
To plant the seeds for the future. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think, has someone got an echo on? I can hear myself echoing. Is everyone, if you treat your space like a recording studio and maybe turn this, is it Daniela's got it on? Okay, cool. So thank you, Tara. That's awesome. And Ray Lee, what's the message of your industry model?
Singing makes me feel good. I actually really liked listening to what Tara was saying, and there's actually, I think there's a lot of gaps in the education department, because when you're becoming a musician, you're also most likely having to start your own business in some sense, or if, like these days, especially with all the independent artists out there, and they don't really teach business studies or entrepreneurship or engineering in schools either. So yeah, it's different. Why do I do what I do? Is that kind of what we're talking about? Like, what's our message?
Yeah. So the message, so maybe as an artist, you might have a political message, you might have another message about connecting, just a deeper message, being an artist or a business. Yeah.
I think my main message is to elevate the emotional intelligence of society and people who I come in contact with.
Wow.
So when I talk about emotional intelligence, I talk about connecting with ourselves and our feelings and having vocabulary to be able to understand them and communicate them with each other. I feel like the biggest gap that I had issues with growing up was not having the vocabulary or the experience and relationships to really connect with people emotionally. And because of that, I've had a lot of inability to deal with trauma and stuff like that. And so I've learned that. And now having 3 little kids, like I'm trying to teach them. But I think that in society, it's a real deficit. So, in all of my music, every time I'm doing anything, it's always, what is the core emotion in this? What is the message of how can we talk about this emotion and connect with each other? Because I think emotional connection is where that real relationship comes in. And it's what we need. We need to not feel alone, but we cannot not feel alone unless we're sharing our emotions with each other. So that's kind of like, in a nutshell, what I do and what my core focus is with my art. And that's because it's what makes me feel good. And yeah, it's fun, but like life's too short to be too serious as well. So
Right. Double-edged sword. Yeah.
I try and have a lot of fun. And I lost 8 years of my childhood, and I thought I was going to have fun and relive my childhood with my kids and do what makes them happy, and realized, I think it took me a long time to realize that money doesn't buy happiness, and nothing is ever worth doing for the money. You should always be doing it for some other reason. And singing is just the one time that I'm like genuinely, purely happy, and that's makes me happy.
Wow.
Couldn't care less if anyone else doesn't like it, if I'm honest. But it feels good when other people do as well, and it feels even better when people connect to the message of the emotion of it. So yeah, that's my thing.
That's pretty deep. Thank you for that. And I just want to, I think Jodie's got an earthquake there happening wherever she lives there. But
It's Queensland. It's Queensland.
I thought it was
Apologies.
I was waiting for the puppet show. So Jenny's in Alabama, so this is her formal introduction. So Jenny's a rock star of the future. So hey, Jenny from Alabama. So over to Daniela. This is, you're a life. Is it a life coach? Is that a bit broad, or
No.
entrepreneur? Entrepreneur coach.
An entrepreneurial coach. No, look, my whole vision is to bring the new emerging creative entrepreneurs into this creative era. And I think we've seen the shift with what has been happening the last couple of months, that we're now recognizing that having an online presence is more than important. And especially for those who are creative, and especially for those who want to create a business, because you can't just be creative and not have a business. If you want to do this, you're going to have an entrepreneurial streak about you. The passion comes from me having no opportunity and had to create my own pathway, and I've helped so many women either launch their online business, because I started that way. It happened 7 years ago, actually, when I started an online membership portal. And all I did, honestly, I did not have anything that was produced to a level of something you would release. It was music for women to unveil their destiny in their life, like kind of meditational music. But you know what? I had over 500 women come through, and I actually nurtured those women for over 3 to 4 years. And a percentage of those took on and did what they wanted to do. But if we look at what's happening right now, and it's a global thing, we need to get on board with what innovation is. And here is where it lies the difference. If you want to stand out from the crowd, you're going to have to be the fullest expression of yourself. That means all of you. None of this, I'm this today and I'm just going to hide who I am. And this is called the breaking down of who we are, so that we can rebuild to create a brand, who you are. That's what you are, so that you can then impact other people's lives by your gifts and your talents. The thing with all of this is that you don't have to be 1,000% tech savvy, but what you do have to have is absolute confidence in what you're delivering, whether it's music, whether it's you're going to be an author, whether you're going to do anything that's artistic. You have to be confident in what you are doing, because people are going to invest in you. People are going to spend their money. And this is where we don't talk about money much as artists, because it's a taboo area. But I want to tell you something. You have to talk about the money at one point, because if you look at what the incoming is and the outgoing, usually there's more outgoing than incoming, if that makes sense right now. So it's a mindset shift. It's a mindset shift.
Yeah, right. Well said. And thank you for coming on the show, because when I stalked you on Facebook, I was like, "Oh my God, she's like the real deal." It's like this is really cool. So everyone who's watching, please like and subscribe and share. Actually, I should actually, So thank you. I should actually put my little banners up now. You've inspired me to like start branding stuff. I spent all this time there.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's right. Yeah, that's it.
Inspired by someone in Sydney. There we go. So straight over. So actually, let's talk about the money. So Jody, with your business model as it is, what income streams, don't have to talk about dollars, names or places, that's cool, but just black and white income stream as an artist, what does it look like for you?
It's so funny because I was only just having this conversation with my brother the other day, and he said to me, because he's in the real world, he's not in the arts world, and he says to me, he goes, "But how much money are you really making? Like, is this just a hobby business, you know?"
Right.
And I mean, I run 3 businesses in one, and I've run a very successful event company, which I don't do anymore because my main focus is writing music and also helping other artists in music. However, I have made a full-time living out of singing and music in general, whether that be, you know, through teaching, through playing, writing my own music, things like that. So it is absolutely possible, and I make a damn good living. I raised 2 little girls on my own on a sole parent income, and I own my own home. So it's possible, and you just got to, it's possible. And I tell you what, who wants to go get a 9-to-5 job doing what, 50, 60K a year, when I can go and be making, you know, $1,000 to sing a song and be flying down to Sydney to do it at a corporate event? Like, that's the sort of, you know what I mean? Right. So
if you like singing.
So yeah, but I will say this, I certainly couldn't have done it if I didn't create different had my fingers in lots of different musical pies. So, you know, wouldn't it be great if I could be Taylor Swift and make all my money off my songs? I don't write as good as she does, so that's obviously why that's not happening. But I've got that income stream. I've got the music school income stream, and then my live performance is the main one. So Yeah, it's I'm very pleased and proud to say it is definitely possible to make a full-time living. I've never had a real job. I don't know what a real job is.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So,
Oh, no,
Aro,
I lie. I worked at Robin's Kitchen on a Thursday night when I was in school, but that's another story.
Not a real job.
Jodie, didn't we work together at one point?
Yeah, that's right. We did indeed. But that was singing.
Oh, yeah, we were crazy, though. We were crazy.
We were crazy, yes.
Nothing's changed. That's good. So, so I've just put my music and myself out there without any expectation. I do what I like and I believe in what it makes me happy. And I hope, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So over to Aro, that was all the way from America. Aro, what does music income streams look like for you?
At the moment, it looks like teaching. In the past, I've done years of being a full-time musician.
Yes.
But I've never looked at myself as just a musician, just a singer. I've always felt my purpose is to sing and write songs, because my songwriting came out of like childhood trauma and it was self-soothing. So I always knew I needed to share my message. However, I am like from a really bohemian creative family. My mum had an art gallery. So I grew up in an art gallery and I was always allowed to self-express. So at the height of my career, I had a fashion studio where I'd make costumes for dancers.
Oh, wow.
As well as like performing around Australia, my own music and releasing songs nationally. And what else was I doing? I was chefing. On a cruise, I was a masseuse on a cruise ship. This is all at the same time, like a
Chefing and masseuse?
So on a Saturday, I would go work on a cruise ship as a masseuse, and then I'd leave my cruise ship job, and I would go prep in the kitchen, and then service would come, and I would serve, and then I would finish at 11 o'clock, and I'd go into the city in Melbourne, and I'd do like my set at the end of a night that I'd organized, and I'd stay out all night and get locked in a bar. And oh wow, you can do things when you're young.
Rockstar.
Yeah, and I had I'm called Fitz Royalty in Melbourne, and I put on my Lady Gaga heels and I strut around the city with my guitar, and I own that shit. But that income that you get from being a recording artist, or the, like Tara was saying, the experience of success was always something next level for me. So even though I was successful financially with my music, I endeavored to do those other jobs, because I was, in my mind, I was like being an entrepreneur, building skills, building businesses, and networking across multi-levels of people. And that was how I was getting people to buy tickets to shows for 400 plus venues without any marketing, because I was just across all of these different places with people, and I'm a chatty person, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, come see my show. And then they wanted to come. So the experience of success as a full-time musician wasn't enough for me, and that's why when I moved from burnout, I needed to move, and I had a domestic violence situation in Victoria, so I had to flee. And a lot of women have experienced something like that, where you just have to leave your life. So I left my life and I came to Queensland, and I found my salvation, and I went back to school to study, to network again. And it's led to me becoming a lecturer. And, you know, if you'd said that to me 10 years ago, I would be like, no way, I'm going to America, I'm going to work for the Grammys, and I'm going to win one. But that's where life has ended up. So now I really feel connected to raising the community and like creating pathways for people, so that just inundated hurdles are just gone. We just have better experiences. So financially it's teaching at the moment. That's my experience.
Well, congratulations, because to teach or lecture at a uni, you need to be an expert in whatever you're doing. So congratulations. I'm sorry to hear.
Well, I'm really good at talking. I've got the talk.
You brought up something about. I read this awesome book, and I probably recommend anyone who's watching. It's called Think and Grow Rich, and it's written by a guy called Napoleon Hill. And anyway, It was financed by a guy called Andrew Carnegie. So have you heard? Everyone's heard of Carnegie Hall in New York. I actually went to go outside there actually, and saw a John Mayer concert. A friend of mine was working that. Anyway, my point being, this concept, Think and Grow Rich. If you read the book, I'm probably going to burst your bubble here. He has something called a mastermind. So I'm right into Dan Pena right at the moment, milking all his stuff. If you don't know who Dan Pena is, look him up. He's a guru. Mastermind has this thing called or mastermind is the people, your network, your little business group. And so probably Daniela and Tara will be all over this at the moment. So anyway, just putting that out there. So over to Tara, income streams. What does that look like?
Okay, so my situation's probably a little bit different in that my primary focus at the moment, my primary focuses are being a mum, but from a work perspective, I'm managing Harry.
Sorry, I just buried you. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. Helping manage Harry's career, and that's my main priority. And that came about as a consequence of he was 13 and he started busking. And the thing that we taught him was that when you're when you're working for yourself, like if you're working at Kmart, for example, you get a finite number of hours and a finite number of dollars. And if you want a guitar, for example, then you need to go, okay, I want to spend $500 or $700 on this guitar. This was a 13-year-old we were talking about.
Yes.
Then you've got to go, rightio, if I want that guitar, then I have to work out how much I'm going to earn, divide it by the number of weeks it's going to take me, and then I can say, all right, in 50 weeks, I can own that guitar. As with what he was doing, he had the capacity to say, all right, I want this guitar and I want it by my birthday. So to get it by my birthday, I need to earn X number of dollars a week. And then he could work out, and this was where record keeping was really important. He was able to see how much he earned on average with his busking, and he could say, right, I know that I need to gig this number of hours or this many times a week in order to achieve my goal financially. From there, he then decided we were in a situation where we couldn't offer him the financial support to do, the classes that he was wanting to do in the performing arts. So he decided at 13, he was going to fund it himself. So all of a sudden,
that's awesome.
This 14-year-old kid had to find $100 a week whilst at school to do what he wanted to do. And I was like, right, well, I've got a background in business, design. I've had a number of careers, business, design, education, and, and so I was like, well, I can't give you the money to do what you want to do, but I can support you using your skills to do what you do. I was at the end of a teaching degree, and between the two of us, thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
And between the two of us, it actually was more viable for me to support Harry in his career in his direction than it was for me to after finishing my teaching degree, to go and get a job as a teacher. So the priority has been growing. And so like when you think of a collective income between the two of us.
Right.
So because as his parent, if I was working as a teacher, I would be the one funding those lessons. So the fact that I was not earning the money, he was paying for it, the least I could do was facilitate his skill.
Yeah, wow. Mastermind.
So we've got a bit of a different approach to it all.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and now he sits with me as we do the things, and he can do most of the business side of it himself now. It's just a question of how much time that business eats into your creative practice. Right. And I'm sure everybody here can testify to the fact that it really does chew up a lot of time if you want to be marketing yourself and doing all of those other things. So
very, very true.
Yeah.
I have a point here. Sorry, the bottom line's going to disappear for a second. It says here, believe this, you don't need the music industry. The music industry needs you. Do it yourself, your butt off. or DIY. Create before more hands want in the pot. Okay. The more you learn to do on your own, the better you are. Understand truly need assistance in. That's a very, very good point.
That's so true.
And it's also important to understand what, if you're engaging somebody to do something for you, to know what that job. No, I'm not a solo parent. I've got my husband, and we've got a 10-year-old as well. So we just do things a little bit differently. I go to the gigs, and he goes to gymnastics a lot of the time.
Yeah. Wow.
How old's Harry now, Tara?
He's just turned 18 a little while ago.
And what's his genre of music?
So he makes a living out of his solo acoustic guitar and singing stuff, but
cool.
alt rock pop is the direction of the band that is his originals and passion.
Did Harry tell you about the car situation in LA?
Oh, I heard all about the car situation in LA.
So I went.
Crazy bugger.
Yes, I love going to America and driving all their muscle cars because they say you can't do burnouts, but too late. I did. Anyway, I said to Harry, I'll give you a lift. So I'm driving this, I think it was a Charger. It was a Hemi. It was a massive engine in it. Anyway, cruising down, I said, yeah, cool, got it. And I forgot to turn wide on the left. So I turned into 6 lanes of oncoming traffic. I'm not joking. Anyway, it was the fastest 36-point turn I've ever done. But anyway, I had to get out of there. To Ray Lee. It's a true story. So, Ray Lee, what income streams for you as an artist? What does that look like right now? Or what do you want to do?
I'm yet to find one.
Beautiful.
At least you're honest.
I get a bit of pocket money, really, but I would definitely not say that anything I'm doing yet is an income stream. I have invested. I remember the pre-launch phase, so I've released 3 singles all this year. And I've invested a crap load of money into self-development courses, songwriting, co-writing, and production. So I've just finished my EP, and it's literally being mastered. I got the first one back today. Yay! So I'm in like this early phase of just dipping my toe in the water, getting happy with what I'm doing, enjoying it, and having fun. And I'm excited. But no, I have no idea. Like, you're supposed to get so many Spotify streams, and like I'm learning. I just did the business course with most of these lovely ladies on here, and so we learn a lot about that. A big part of my income stream was to put together a band and tour and do shows. So I don't know what that looks like now, but I don't know. I really like my songs, and I'm going to be really happy to be able to release them at some point. But it's funny that Tara was talking about her son and helping him create, because like literally in the last week, my son, in the last few months, my son's been wanting a treehouse, and he's 7. And I'm like, these tree houses, do you know how expensive they are? And someone told me you can either give someone food to eat or like fish to eat, or you can teach them to fish. And then they'll always, So I've been teaching my son how to start his own business. And he'd opened up a lemonade stand out the front of our house like a week ago. And he had more publicity in 5 days.
He was on the news.
Lemonade stand out the front of his thing.
I saw him on the news.
He's been on ABC radio.
You should be out the back playing.
I'm like, hang on a second. What's he know? I don't know.
Mum should be down the front yard playing. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I just jam while he's sitting out the front yelling, lemonade, come get your lemonade.
Well, next publicity stunt, Mum should be down the front jamming away. There you go.
Wow.
We'll have a driveway concert at Eli's lemonade stand. But yeah,
Okay.
it's so funny. But it's good because he's starting to get a cash flow for a 7-year-old. It's kind of scary. I thought he'd give up after day 1, but he's been going steady now. So
well done for supporting him. That's good.
Can I just do a quick? So the course that Ray Lee was talking about, the Business of Music course for the Gold Coast through the Gold Coast City Council, for anybody that's based on the Gold Coast, applications for the next cohort close tomorrow.
Oh.
and it's free.
So get onto it. And this time it's free.
It's free.
And,
Yeah. I know. Do you know right?
Yeah,
we all paid for it.
Yeah.
But I just think, so for me, I'm in my final subject of a Master of International Music Business, and I know there were people that have done degrees in contemporary music. Thanks, Doug. And there's people that have done all different kinds of learning within the industry, and I think everybody has something that they can take away from this course. It has been phenomenal. So, yeah, if you're on the Gold Coast,
Type the link in. Type the link in and I'll post it up.
But is it kind of
I met my producer through that course.
Yeah, they changed the course based on who's in it. So
oh, right, cool.
You go into it wanting to learn event management or some specific area of the music industry, they will tailor it to try and answer your questions. Yeah.
It's very project oriented.
Excellent. Well, we might just go over to Daniela for some guru-ness. I'm waiting for this one. So how are we going to become millionaires, Daniela?
Yes, tell us your secret.
Doug, I'm very glad that you brought up Think and Grow Rich, because it's one of the books that I first started to read when I started in the
I'm taking notes.
Online business. And I was part of a very well-established mastermind for many years. And
oh, wow.
I learnt, and this is the one thing that I want everyone to take away with you, and find a way how you can create your own thing. You are only worth the value of the problem that you solve. And this is something that business teaches you. Whatever problem you solve is whatever value you can put on that. And that's a monetary value, because the only way we can exchange right now is through money. Now, it's an investment. So when people are coming to you, they are investing into themselves. So they are more than happy to have that transfer, because then you are able to give something back to them. Now, how this works, and you're thinking, well, what's that got to do with the music industry? La, 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 la. Well, listen it this way. No, because that's the first question that gets put in my face. When you start to see yourself as a thought leader, someone that has expert knowledge in an area that you have been able to overcome, and I mean emotionally, and I mean physically, and you have been able to change your life and somebody else's life, that is considered very valuable. Where does your music come into that? Your music is a added persona. It's embellishment of who you are. Yeah. When you can add, and this is another key, when you can add your artistry, which is the way that you express yourself, and some kind of consulting, coaching, thought leadership, public speaking, workshops, facilitating, training, where you are solving a problem, your value goes from $50 to $10,000.
Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of receiving transactions of that monetary form throughout my coaching.
Wow.
And I only say this because I fully believed in what I do. I fully embody that. When you fully embody what you do, and that you are there to stand up and create a path for somebody else. So all you're doing is somebody is waiting behind you and going, can someone please do this before me? I'm too scared. And as leaders, especially if we watch history, who are the ones that lead into change?
The frustrated.
The artists.
The artists. If we look in history, any period of history, it is someone that has had Renaissance.
He came up with the scissors. Yeah. All right, sorry.
I know I get a bit serious, but I do look at the trend.
No, this is good.
And we have to understand that what we are going through right now is a major, major shift in thinking, consciousness. People are reaching out. They want music. They want to heal. They want to feel. They want to sense something. If you're not creating that pathway, somebody else is going to do it. And what happens is that it makes it clear for others to follow through. So see yourself as a leader, solve a problem, put a price to it with absolute certainty that that is what you're worth, And that takes a lot of mindset work. And you will start to live the life that you dream of. You dream of traveling the world. You want to produce your own music. I produced my own album. I coached. I did my consulting. I paid in full for my album. I released my album. You know what? No attachment to outcome. I still do what I love to do, and that is to help people. If you're here to help people, that whole area around money and income, it just flows towards you because you are of service. Be of service.
Here's a question for you, Daniela.
How do you put a price? Okay, so have a look at this. What problem can you solve that is, number one, transformational and tangible? And I'll tell you 3 things that people will pay for. This is what 3 areas that people will pay for.
Yeah.
They will pay for health, relationships, and money. Okay? So if you can find where you belong in one of those domains and your music can sit in there and you can solve a problem, you've overcome something in your life in one of these areas, whether it be trauma, whether it be relationships, whether it be money, you know that you are of value. Use your gift and talent, which is transformational. Okay, that's the transformation. You can create an atmosphere through your music. Then the tangible side is, what is your story and how can you help those people overcome their situation much faster than what you've had to endure? What tools do you have? What resources do you have? You're telling me you couldn't create something that could be a 5-week program for someone who is suffering that you have been able to overcome and add your music to that? You would have to be like, come on, there's a way. But you have to see the value in yourself first before you see that value come back to you. And that's where the problem lies. What do I value myself? Am I good enough? Do I know enough? How many more accreditations do I need? Who do I need to go and see? Blah, 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 blah. Been there, done that. I have the label. But let me tell you, it ain't got anything to do with that. You are of value right now where you are. You could probably pick 3 things right now that you can help people with.
I tell my students this. Exactly.
There
I say,
you go.
if you have a HD on your assignment for marketing, you can take those notes from that assignment and make it a downloadable PDF and sell it for $10.
Hello.
And that's not plagiarism. That's you selling your expertise now that I have taught you in what you've learned, and you can take it forward and you can start making an income now for yourself, not for your artists, because they're managers. So yeah, exactly. You've got to interrupt ordinary thinking and start thinking of yourself as like exceptional. You've got something to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, and just before we go back to Jody, then Daniela, so with your music background, has that helped you with your business now?
Oh, absolutely, because I have been able to use the background of being in the recording industry. And, you've got all your awards and whatnot. It's not about that. It's people look at how you present yourself in the fact of being confident. Because you know that we've been all through stuff. We have been through it as artists. And it is a very emotional road. Okay? We've had therapy. We've had moments of wanting to do ourselves over. I know it all because we've been there. But the fact is, when someone sees and hears your story at where you were and to what you've achieved, that's transformational. That's actually what people want. Can you believe they'll actually pay for that? They'll pay to come and see you talk, sing, offer some kind of course, as Alex was saying, and allow them to have their transformation. That's what we're here for. That's what the Renaissance was all about. It was all about bringing back the artist in you.
We're in a new renaissance for sure.
We are absolutely in that.
Yeah.
And we don't take charge now. I'm telling you, we don't want to be just going, oh, that was fun.
No,
long and
it's like a
winding road.
moment of constant adaptability because, you know, like the astrology boom online, like 10 years ago, people would laugh at you if you said, I'm going to be an astrologer. But now it's like a feasible job. You can go start a YouTube channel being a tarot reader and people will pay you thousands a week, a day, a month. The spiritual revolution that's happening. But it's also just like, become adaptable. You can see it with what's happening with influencer culture and what happened with the Vine artists. Like there was an app called Vine, and there was a lot of young artists there. They're still in their 20s, but they were really, really big on there. And then it just died overnight. And they quickly adapted to Instagram. And now Instagram has become like a formulated place for models. So the people that were more comedic have moved on to TikTok as their new platform, and people are adapting to that. And then if you know you're like me and you really can't be bothered with social media, and you know, I'm not adapting because I know my demographic. The people that really hear my music are in their 60s and they're not on TikTok. So I'm sitting back going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make my money another way. And I'm going to make some good music. So just watch this space.
Okay, well, I think that leads a good segue into the next question about, and thank you, Daniela.
Thank you, Daniela.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank you.
Beautiful.
Love the passion.
Got scared on this side of the microphone, but you know that.
Drop your website down.
Very intense. Lucky you're downstairs this time. We're not.
Upside down. I'm upside down.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Is she still upside down?
Your face. Your black name is across your face. I really love everything you're saying, but I can't see
you. That's why I keep looking that way. I've got a second screen. And whenever you're speaking, Daniela, I'm looking over here because then I can see the right way up.
Well, I think that, Alex may have already answered this one, but maybe different. So over to Jody. So social media platforms. So obviously we're still locked down of sorts. I know a lot of kids went to school today, but what's the platform of choice? Because there's been a massive shift. I'm a London Real fan. There's been, I don't know if you know what's going on with him. Brian Rhodes. I love him.
Yes.
So
there's been
a I'm addicted to motivational speaking. I actually go and do my own thing, but that's another chat for another time. But as a motivational speaker, but anyway, there's been a massive shift back to personal websites for such a massive platform like that. So my question is, what is your recommendation for social media, Jody? What's your platform of choice?
Look, I'm much like Aero. I hate social media. I do it purely for business, and I have to. And I'm across Instagram, Facebook. I haven't delved into the whole TikTok thing, but my demographic is mainly my followers and people that listen to my music is sort of female, 35 and up. I get so they listen to the radio. They go out to shows. They actually pay for your merchandise and when they come to your show. So I'm in that sort of a demographic where the, corporate working women, single mums, people who actually value that. So I don't, I have a website and I've actually spent a lot more time in lockdown rebuilding and sort of going the back end of all my businesses and relaunching my websites. So that has been, it's funny you say that because that's been more of my focus of late.
Oh, that's good. And Aero, did you want to add anything about platforms?
I think like when you measure the success you want, you and who you want to work with, you start to evaluate opportunities and whether opportunity versus temptation. So if I release a song later this year that's a banger and it's got some disco flavor, I might make a TikTok account because I know a lot of dance schools in Melbourne that I could get them to start doing a dance routine thing for, and I might try and jump on the end of Dojo Cat and do Lupa's success because they're in the charts with some soul disco vibes, and I believe in my talent. I could totally lift my song to that level because the quality of what I've written, the way I sing it, it sounds audibly at that level. So in a marketing business world, that is what I would tell my artists to do. So I would, I might consider doing that for myself. But at this point where I am in my, artistry, it's not worth me trying to create a new market and get the younger people. And, I've just focused on the 1,000 fans that I've got now and keep securing them and keep getting them engaged so that I can have 1,000 true fans, like people that are investing $100 a year and create a Patreon account, because that's the new adoption. We've got to jump on Patreon. People have been saying it for years, make a website, make a paid membership part of your website where you share all your own content, because anybody's Facebook or Instagram could shut down like Myspace did, just overnight. Everyone lost their whole Myspace network.
I'm really glad you said that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I had a MySpace. I was friends with Nicki Minaj. Like I said, I was a battle rapper.
Yes, of course.
I was on a hip hop album back in, I won't say, but through Mushroom. I was
I'm gonna Google it.
I was there, guys. I was there. It was happening. A-Ro, she was
awesome.
But,
you said a couple of things there about.
Let Nicki go with the MySpace page. We're not friends anymore.
It's funny you said that about that little bit of no faith in the digital platform, because they can actually take it away from you overnight. Because actually, that actually happened with London Real. Like he had this massive situation on LinkedIn, and it just they just blew him away. Just gone. I mean, hundreds of thousands of views and followers and blah blah blah, gone. But interesting. But
and the thing about TikTok, this is what I teach my students. You got to read the fine print. Like
with my sister.
Yes.
Read the fine print. TikTok is owned by a company that their sister company is a AI business. So all of the information that goes into TikTok is getting basically it's like teaching AI how humans operate. So
we'll all end up dancing.
And you have no idea how long it took me to get that right. But anyway,
if anyone wants to make an idea of what we're like from TikTok,
do we even operate?
I don't even know. I only read real dystopian sci-fis, so I don't know about the in-between bit. So I only know about the fallout, once the mushroom cloud is like, and then there's one child left that needs to save the world. I've only read those books. So I don't know about this part. I didn't read 1984. I'm
George
vaguely
Orwell.
aware of Big Brother, but there's some real dangers in the way technology is developing, and we need to, as educators and as adults, we need to be on top of it, because it's so enticing to the children and the naive people. You can be a 25 naive person. You can be, I think I was like assaulted and had to leave. I think I was 30. Things happened in my life and I was a grown ass woman, and it blindsided me, and I had to wipe the slate clean and reprogram everything I thought about myself. And that took time, that took healing. And so going back into a cyber world and articulating myself with raw energy was really difficult. But luckily I was gifted with my voice, not just as a singer, but the internal strength to want the will to express. So when people do have a dig at you in cyber world and say, your song's shit, or, your face is ugly, you should use that other picture, or just basically slipping into your DMs constantly because you're a woman putting yourself out there.
They're called trolls. You just block those ones.
Or they're just, just like, there's just a whole culture of people in the industry that think that because you've advertised yourself as a, like you've given a caricature of yourself. Like A-Ro is not Alex Rowe. A-Ro is like, she likes liquor. I don't like liquor. A-Ro likes wearing 8-inch heels, and she'll sass you, and she plays electric guitar, and she can stay up all night, and she's rock and roll. But you know, I like baking gluten-free rotis. That's not Aero. So
Like
the
an avatar.
person, yeah, it's like an avatar. And that's what people don't understand about artists is, you know, they can be really shy people and they've created a persona to express how they didn't feel they could express in their true life. It's like an actor. And so it goes across all social media platforms. You want to have congruency with your persona, but it doesn't necessarily ring authentic to yourself. So Danielle was saying you want to start being authentic and incorporating your whole self. And you can do that. Yes, you can do that. But you have to be a very self-aware person to be prepared to share the dark things and the light things. And not everyone's going to be okay to listen, and they're not going to receive you. Yes, it sounds cool. So you have to really
like just know that it's not probably you. I don't know. I walk around thinking that 99% of what stuff people say to me or about me is actually just a reflection on them. And so in that case, if it doesn't ring true to me, then it's like, okay, well, that's your thought, and it like actually doesn't affect me. And that comes back down to ABC, you know, your acts, your belief, and your consequences. If you believe something,
say it again. Act, belief, consequences.
Action, beliefs, and consequences. It's a cognitive behavioral therapy thing. So it's not mine. But it comes down to our core beliefs. So, like, if you believe that you're ugly, and then someone says you're ugly, that then plays on your core belief, and so the consequence is going to be, oh crap, I'm ugly, and blah 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 blah. But if you're like, you actually believe that you're the most beautiful person on the planet, and someone says you're ugly, your belief is like, well, no, I'm beautiful, so whatever. And then your consequence is completely different. So like your core belief completely changes the way that the world is, and the way that we as people experience the world based on what our core belief is. And so I would actually say, you know, when things come up, if they trigger you, I would then say, look at what the core belief is that's attaching to that trigger. And that's the way that we heal, you know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I just want to add that I'm talking, that's fantastic. I'm also talking about speaking into a safe space.
Yeah.
So knowing that the internet, like the world is what you believe it is. So yes, believe that there's amazing people out there, and you're going to find your tribe. When you reach out, you will find your tribe. But the internet is also not a safe space. So social media is not.
But it's a marketing tool.
Yeah. It is of course, yeah.
And being vulnerable can be marketing, but you don't have to be naked on screen, you know, because that's not safe. But being open and vulnerable and authentic, which I think what Daniela was saying.
And naked, not just visually naked, but, you know, emotionally naked.
Vulnerable.
All types of rawness. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. But we'll just finish this question over to Tara.
Yeah.
Great. And also great insight. Thank you, Aero. Amazing. I've been taking notes as well. So Tara.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Favorite, you know, what were we talking about? Social media platform, of course. So what's the one that's got the most traction for you?
Right now, it's been really interesting because this has been an area I've been quite interested in. 3 years ago, Harry and I went over to America to, and one of the things we did while we were over there was went to the CD Baby DIY Musicians Conference. And there was a lot of marketing stuff that I was interested in learning over there, because if America is going to be his market, then potentially, is it the same as here? You know, we just assume that everybody does things the same way we do. And it was quite an eye-opener to see that here it was all Facebook and Instagram, but over there it was Twitter and YouTube. And there was very little, you know, and so we came back with okay, we really need to redo everything. So we opened a Twitter account and then found it to be absolutely painful and have not worked it effectively. But the thing we've realized is that every platform has a different purpose, and it's understanding the purpose of each platform and the intention of it. And when we're bringing our A game, we're able to create good momentum on all platforms. Right now, we're nailing. Since the whole COVID thing, Facebook was the one that was dragging its heels, but since COVID, Facebook has really just upped the ante and has been a go-to platform, and we're getting a lot more traction in America, particularly with Facebook, than I ever expected that platform would generate for Harry and his profile and his demographic. But the data you get is, and the data from each platform is, it's just a little bit different, because it's targeting, like Jody, you were saying about that, that 35 onwards for ladies. That's a Facebook. That's Facebook heaven. Yeah. That's where they're all at, kind of thing.
And everyone looks like they're in their 20s, though, so it's confusing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're holograms.
Obi-Wan Kenobi's in the house. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, R2D2.
Yeah, so we're primarily using Facebook and Instagram. Have dabbled with. I only say dabbled with TikTok, but it's
Me
been,
too.
Yeah, I know. It's been under sufferance from Harry's perspective. He's just like, I'm not TikToking. So we put a couple of songs up, and there are people that are engaging with it to check out instrumental musicians and things like that as well. They're not all there just about the dance.
Right.
The 10-year-old, our 10-year-old is absolutely all about the dance,
Right.
but not for Harry. And for that more pop sort of style of thing that you were talking about, Jody, earlier, that we don't really have room for here in Australia. Those guys, if they've got a good hook, and you can get 15 seconds of quality hook into that stuff, then, that's where the dance element comes in for TikTok. It's just knowing what you want to do. We use Instagram for primarily videos and, musical content, and Facebook was always, up until this point, okay, if you want to know where I'm gigging, head over to Facebook and find out, so that you're transferring people between your two platforms and keeping both of them active.
To keep doing two different streams, yeah. Well, before we go on to Ray Lee, I have a question here for you, Tara. Sorry, it's just buried you there. Sorry. It says, watching your terrific show, very interesting topics. This is from Sophia. When you have a moment, please ask Tara, what is the link for the Gold Coast Music course she has mentioned? She said that the application is finished tomorrow. I would like to apply for that.
Oh, fantastic.
Apply.
If you scroll down through the comments, I've put a link. I tagged the page, but it only went across to the Gold Coast Arts and Culture Facebook page. But if you keep scrolling through the comments on today's show, you'll also see I've put a snapshot visual of what the post you are looking for is, because I was having trouble manipulating it and getting the actual post link. So you've got the directions to the page, and you've got the picture of what you're looking for. It's a bit of a treasure hunt, but you'll find it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, or just chuck it in the feed. That'd be awesome. All right. Thank you for that. So, Ray Lee, besides having news crews in your front yard for social media with lemonade stands.
For lemonade.
What's your social media preference?
Preference, none. You know how they're saying, like, the more social you are on social media, the less social you are in person. I'm a physically social person. I love to be around people. And I'll let you in on a little secret, is actually my amazingly technologically gifted husband, opposites attract, manages most of my social media and website and everything, because he's a business guru. And so I am lucky in that way, because I have this amazing talent to just piss people off with text messages. Like,
Sorry.
I don't know what I think I'm kind of sarcastic, or people don't get my sense of humor, and like, I don't know, I just make people angry. So he's kind of taken on a lot of that stuff, but we do use Facebook and Instagram and websites and like direct marketing. But before everything was shut down, I would just go to every networking event I could, and self-development courses and open mics, which is how I've met most of you guys. So, and that's what I love, because I draw on the energy of other people, especially musicians. There's something magical about being around live music and artists and people who are open to exploring and questioning emotions. So that's my avenue. Is preferably number one is actually interaction and social networking, and then Facebook and Instagram. But now I'm stressing because I kind of use Facebook as like my phone book. You know, I don't put people's numbers in my phone anymore. I add them on Facebook, and you know, so I would be so lonely if Facebook died and they took all my contacts. Now I'm worried. I might stop doing that now. I might actually start being lazy and put people's phone numbers in my phone again.
It's funny you say that. Yeah, I was saying.
It's just so much easier to connect with people on Facebook these days than it is to type in a phone number. Yeah.
But Rayleigh, if you piss them off, they can just unfriend you on Facebook and then you've lost their contact. Whereas you still
probably would want their contact anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've actually been deleting people on Facebook because my values have changed and my level of self-worth changed dramatically. And I was like, ooh, shadow racist. Ooh, misogynist. Delete.
Wow.
And I've been noticing, or block. Yeah, those people have been coming back into my friend. Like they're trying to add me as a friend. And I'm like, talking to myself, like, don't add them again just to be kind and polite, because they're not in your physical world and they don't need to be in your psychic realm. You've deleted them for a reason. You can't remember why now, but just let it go.
I try and keep it separate. So Instagram and my Facebook page is where it's all the public music and what I'm doing in my artist creative journey, and whatever that is, like whatever that looks like. But I don't, you saw my son walk in before. I don't really go posting pictures of my kids on my business pages, my music pages. Unless it's relevant to what I'm doing, like my daughter came to an open mic with me, and like that's kind of relevant because I am a mum and I'm not trying to hide the fact that I'm a mother and also artist. Like, I get the mum guilt sometimes. It's like, how could you be doing that? But like, I love it. I'm showing my kids that if you love something, you should pursue your passion.
Yes.
But yeah, but then I have my personal page, and that's where, even with business pages, I have like a one strike rule. Essentially, like if you're really negative, or you're a trolley or horrible, or just putting bad vibes into my direct social media area, if I actually know you, I will talk to you about it privately. I'll be like, hey, what's going on? Either if it, because sometimes we have bad days and we vent. I've vented on social media. We've all done it when we're in a bad mood. It's just not really the place for it. And some people think that it is and do it on a regular basis, and all it does is make me depressed, which is why I don't really watch the news. So those people, if I don't really know them and they've ended up in my socials somehow, they just get blocked because I just don't need that. And if they are someone I know and it kind of, I've met them once and we've added them on Facebook through whatever, and then it's like, I kind of see that they're one of those people that I might even message them and just say, hey, look, I'm going to take you off, or if it feels like it's not actually going to benefit, but I'm pretty strict with it. I'm very strict with it. And yeah. And that way, when I do randomly get an odd random person, it's like, haha, block.
Yeah, right. Well, that's good. We have a comment there for you, Raleigh. It's a nice feeling. Oh, it might have been for Aro, I think, to do a Facebook purge. So over to Daniela. I'm going to get my good pen out for this one, so I'm going to write down some more stuff.
Stop it.
So
Now you're taking it too far.
No, I'm taking it seriously. No, so this is good because, especially in the business of you consulting with professionals in whatever facet that may be in business. So social media it's instrumental to some business. So I'm really interested in what you have to say about this.
I made a choice to be only online. So my whole life now, I'm okay with it to be online presence. What I will say, and Gary V, if anyone here listens to Gary V.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, of course, Doug. Made an
Yeah.
announcement a few years ago that if you are not putting yourself on video live streaming, you have no business.
Wow.
Now, that was a big deal to say that when everyone just went, what are you talking about? I can still have a business, blah, 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 blah. If we look at the data now, it is 83% of people and this is predominantly on Facebook, will tune into a live stream more than watching commercial TV or whatever, and they will watch for at least 15 to 20 minutes. You have that prime time.
Wow.
And you know what? Gone are the days where you used to have to buy airtime. You are positioning yourself. Now you're probably thinking, well, how are people going to find me? What's going on there? I love that question. Please, 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 let's all have a look at this. When you started gigging and you started getting passionate about your music, what were you doing? You were doing it every freaking day. You wanted to perform every day. You didn't care where it was, how it was. You would do it. I've been there. We've all been there. What are we not doing on social media? We're not showing up consistently. We're not showing up every day at the same time and being that person. We're not the one with the message. We're coming in now. Today I feel like it. Today I don't feel like it. Now, would you do that if you were asked to go and do a gig down at the local somewhere? No, you'd go, nah, I'm there. I don't care. I'm doing it. It's the same principle. You're just moving yourself from a physical place to you doing something online. This is the way that technology is going. Whether we like it, hate it, want to throw it out, let's look at this. AI, yes, but listen, AI can be your best friend at the same time. If you show up, that algorithm starts to move. You get engagement, it starts to push you. You start to get the attention that you rightfully deserve. Secondly, I'm going to challenge you on something. Move your your business to your private Facebook page. Why? Because probably the people that you're friending or that you are in contact with probably will want either your services or are going to be impacted by you. This way, you are very, 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 in a sense, bringing them into your world. Your private Facebook page is your shopping mall window. So if you go to a big shopping center, you're looking around and then suddenly you go, I like the look of that place. I want to go in. When they come into your place, if my banner and my bio and my profile pic ain't telling you what I do, see you later. I ain't going to be interested. It's like going into a shop and you don't see any signage. You don't know. It could be just a dodgy place. I'm not going to go in. It's the same thing. We just need to change the way that we think. Your private page can become something that will absolutely blow up because you know why? People share your stuff. People love to go, oh, I like that. Let's send that off to somebody. Facebook is being designed for that purpose. It's designed to create communities. If you haven't created a private Facebook group, you are losing out once again because Facebook wants you to create a sacred space for you to create your tribe. And when you understand that, because there's the shop front, your private Facebook page, hey, do you want to come into my exclusive place where I'm going to teach you everything? I'm going to let you into my world. People want to come into that because you've invited them there. And there lies the next part where you start to transform people's lives in a private arena. Can you see where I'm trying to take everyone? Facebook business page, boom, boom, boom. But it's only useful for advertising. If you want to spend money, you want to put advertising in there, have a private business page. But your private page, which has a limit of 5,000 people, that is right there a place where people can land to purchase. And then if you want them into an exclusive area, take them into your abode somewhere and create an amazing group, which I have. And I have an energetic group of women who I love to help and I give everything to them. Then they become either customers, clients, or even just good friends. But they support. So when I post something, bang, they're sharing it. Bang, they're supporting. That's what you want. That's where you have to look at, where am I consistent and where am I showing up regularly? And the other thing is, people need repetition. You might
Wow.
think, oh, they've already heard that once or twice. I'm telling you right now, they want to hear it 5, 6, 7 times before it fits into their neurological hardwiring of their brain. Telling them once is not enough. So just because you sing it once or you perform once, they're going to, no, sing it again and again and again and again until they go, oh, yeah, I remember that song. Yeah, I've been singing it for the last 2 weeks. But anyway.
Right, yeah.
We've got to get into this. When we used to do shows, like we'd perform the same shows, right? I mean, I knew that's what I did. I got used to that. It's the same situation here, just to make it a little bit different. That's all.
Yeah. Well said. I like what you're saying. So to take on board your personal page, if you're going to, whatever business you're doing, just put it out there, right? That's what you're
my
saying?
shop front. Yeah.
Shop front.
Where all
that's
my
what I
business
do.
comes. There you go.
That's what I've done. I don't have I should have a page. I don't have a page. There's a story behind that. That's a personal thing. However, anyone that likes me, I know are interested in what I'm doing as a
that's
entertainer.
right.
So, so that's why, and I let them into my world.
There she said it. Let you into my world.
Yeah. So that's how I've done it, and I've actually heard quite a couple of people. Another lady, a friend of mine, she's in marketing and advertising. I said, "Oh, I don't have a page. What do you think?" And she said, "No, keep it the way it is." So I don't know. I don't know. But I like that. I like the fact that I'll go do a show or I'll, or whatever. And I'll, even when I come on here, Doug, to do a live stream, I had a couple of people from the US last week jump on, like me, like all my stuff. Yeah. And you go, you feel like you're making a little bit of an impact or people are enjoying what you're doing. So that's good.
Yeah. Because I think it's exactly what Daniela, I think what you're all alluding to. I went and did a course with Miles Copeland. You may be aware of a little band called The Police. Have you heard about The Police band?
Mm-hmm.
So Stuart Copeland was the drummer. So Miles Copeland was the brother. He was the marketing guru behind the scenes about, why are we even going to call the name The Police? Because he said, I got to meet him and he said, because every single country in the world's already advertising my band. And he did something revolutionary back in the early 80s, is that he actually went for advertising contracts, not record contracts. So he got the Police to wear those police sunglasses and got the guys to dye their hair. And as soon as they had a visual presence, because MTV was taking off, he said, I'm not competing with MTV. I'm already on freaking MTV because I'm on all the ads. And it was genius marketing.
Wow.
So,
very smart.
Yeah, but he taught me this. Actually, he had an argument with me. Maybe I had an argument with him live very first time I met him. His two questions were, who are you? And what the truck do you do, right?
Yeah.
And the first couple of people said, hello, my name's, and I actually got hey, I'm Doug Jong all the way from Australia, and I play guitar. I'm going to blow your mind. and then he started arguing back and said, what do you mean you're going to blow my mind? Who are you? Why do I even care about you? And anyway, it started like that, very, very aggressive. And he goes, anyway, after a while, he goes, I like you, sit down. But it just really, I was just acting with him. I thought it was funny because I have a sad sense of humor, but it was just really, really blew my mind that you only have like 3 seconds for someone to make an opinion of whatever you're doing. And he was like really ramming that home. So leads me to a question maybe to Aero. What do you do with your students who are like at university level and, similar to what Jody is doing, I guess what we're all doing, but what do you tell the students to do to market themselves? And maybe even take a page from Daniela's thing about value. How do you do that in uni?
Well, yes. So I have a really big talk to them about you define your value. Nobody else defines your value. Not what someone says about you, not what someone does to you, not the grades that you get. You could walk out of this degree a failure, but you define that what you become. Like I failed 60% of my degree and I was nearly like out of the, schooling system, but I sat down and I went back to it and I went and completed my degree.
Yep.
So I share that with my students. Now to get back to your question.
Yep. Do you want me to say it again?
Yes.
So how do you inspire and be a model for your students to? Yeah, what do you do with them to light that fire? I'm just thinking of a better way to describe it, because
Have
you're
to
going.
move while I talk because my computer's on 5%. So
Okay.
I constantly share with my students behind the scenes of the work that I'm doing, like the gigs that I have. I'm really underground as an artist. I'm always getting big gigs and going off and doing them and coming back to my humble life. And so I'm always letting my students in on that. And I'm always up to a few things at the same time. But I don't big note myself about it. And my grandmother shared not to make custard bananas, which is like the Australian listening of a Maltese saying. So that's all we can remember what it was. Custard
Maltese.
bananas.
Yeah,
in
right.
Maltese probably is something, it's a phrase, but in Australian it sounds like custard bananas. But anyway, it's basically don't tell people about what you're up to before you've completed it, or don't talk about your dreams like it's a pipeline, like it's happening, you're doing it, and that's when you do it. That's when you
Talk about
start
the product,
talking
not the hot air. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Cool.
That's a thing. So if I am talking to my students about, because they're entertainment managers, they're not artists. Some of them are artists, but they're learning how to be managers. So I'm always engaging with them, like asking them, how do you think? How do you learn? Are you an outside of the box person, or are you a practical perfectionist? Like, what is your, what's your gold that you can offer everybody, and how can you draw the gold out of other people? Because there's going to be someone that's really lateral and they're really outside the box. And I always say to the students, that's the person that you want to keep, that person, this person in your classmate, you want to keep them in your life so you can always bounce ideas off them.
Networking.
And yeah, and lateral thinker person, you're going to need your linear perfectionist thinking person. You're going to always need them to bounce ideas off them, because with your two minds need each other. Not one of you can do this alone. You need to bounce ideas off each other, which brings me back to something Danielle was saying. Ideas spread, something Seth Godin, the author, he talks about good ideas spread. And, when you build your tribe, that's how you start spreading good ideas.
Right, which is the same model as a mastermind, right?
Yeah, so once you've got a great idea and you share it, and it does share like wildfire, and then there's usually a trajectory of an idea, like a bell curve.
Of course.
Yes.
But then there's some experiences like Jeff Buckley, like when you discover Jeff Buckley, it's like it's 1998. You're transported, and you're like, man, I wish he was still alive. Oh my God. And you're so in love with him, like it's 1998. And I think some artists can create a nucleus of art, not just music, like a nucleus of art that is so intense, so encapsulating. Even sportsmen can do it. Like Adam Goods, he's gone there. Like he's personified integrity. Like you see him and you're like, what a man. Oh, and he's just kicking a ball.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I might.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
Move on.
Yeah. Okay. No. I'll just ask Jody this question. So, hot air versus product in the pipe. What's a quick point on? Do you tell people what you're doing, or do you just manifest it, then show people what you're doing? Maybe, tell or show people what you're doing. What do you do?
Depending on what the project is, because at the moment I'm right into networking, collaborating with people, and you have to be speaking about what you're trying to do. And that was part of the reasons for me teaming up with ARO to talk about, getting a platform out there for pop, adult, contemporary artists in a live festival type environment. So there's that, and then there's things where I'm creating an album at the moment, but I'm not sort of busting and talking about my music all the time in that way. what I might be doing in a business venture or things like that. I just sort of, it just happens organically. But yes, definitely at the moment I am talking about it to everyone.
Okay,
everyone and anyone I possibly can and that will listen, because I'm passionate about getting another platform out there in this genre of music. It's really important to me, and I know that I can help other people as well. I know there's other artists out there in the same boat. I talk to them all the time, and so how can we get it going, and who do we need to get on board? And that's so I'm talking about it. I'm doing it.
And it creates accountability. It creates accountability when you do that, because if you don't tell anyone, if you don't do it, then the only person that knows you didn't do it is you. Whereas if you put it out there that you're going to do something, you've all of a sudden created this mass accountability that you've got to deliver, or you've got to explain yourself. And,
absolutely.
Yeah. And so so Tara, what's your take on that? Talk about it or do it?
Both.
I don't know why I'm using gestures, but I've just started. So it must be TikTok.
I think it's important to, it's important to state your goals.
Very good.
But it's only a goal if it has a plan behind it. And, otherwise it's just a wish.
Like a clear objective of your goal. Like your son had steps to get to his goal.
Yeah, and we do, 1, 3, 5 and long-term planning and goal and objectives of things that he wants to achieve. And
that's awesome.
We look at what it is, not just in a physical, I'm going to do this thing. It's why are you going to do this thing? Because the thing itself may change, but so long as the intention, it's understanding what the intention behind your actions is as well. And if you understand that, then, if your path veers and wanders along the way, but it still gets you the same outcome in the long run. And again, this does come back to that whole success is subjective, and it's also subject to moving. And what you deem success now does not necessarily, it can change. And you've got to give yourself permission to have those changes, because Harry had the opportunity. This was a wonderful piece of advice. I used to say this to him, but then he had the opportunity to play for Adam Brand.
Oh, wow.
He opened for Adam Brand when he was younger, and Adam had done the things that were Harry's goal, which was to play Madison Square Garden. He was signed to Sony Global, and he'd achieved what he believed was going to be the pinnacle of his career goals. He got there and went, do you know what? I've done these things. I'm not fulfilled. And he worked with Sony to be able to step out of that contract. I'm not really sure of the circumstances, but he came back to Australia and found that his life was not America and Madison Square Garden. It was Australia and playing music to Australians. And it changed, and it changed massively, but it's okay because he understood why he was doing what he was doing.
That's great. Okay, thank you for that. And not coming full circle, So Ray Lee, and here's the actions for you. So do you talk about what you're doing, or do you? I think you did it better than me. Stop it. So.
I don't do better than you, Doug, except for play guitar.
Actually, talking about that, here's a point from Justin. It says here, big dilemma, that topic, Doug. Do you just create it, throw it out there and say, there you go, had a crack, or set up a bit of hype and say things that are in the works coming soon? So what's your take on that?
Very good one, Justin. I would say no matter what you want to do, before any of the above, is you got to write it down. If it's not on paper, it's not going to happen. Write it down. Get a Sharpie.
I'll get my good pen out.
But yeah, no, I've always been a list person. I'm married to a project manager, so everything's always planned a lot more than what I'm an artist. So I'm like, I'm going to do an album. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And he's like, let's, wind it back up. So I've definitely been down the path of I've had these big ideas, and I would tell the world, and then I would set my expectations really high and then I'd be really, really disappointed. And, you know, I think that's just a part of growing up. But now I think it's more about when you, especially if you're a visionary or an artist or an ideas person like me, have people that you trust and you know that you can go to help be your sounding board of
mastermind
reality, not just yes people, but people who could actually, maybe the details people, and find people like that. So I talk to him about new ideas almost every day and it drives him nuts. But I know that I can go to him with an idea, and if he says that's a great idea, I'm just like, woohoo! And like I run, because it doesn't happen very often. Most of the time it's like, oh, but what about this? Or what about that? Or there's this. And he puts all the holes in it. But it keeps me grounded and it helps me actually think about, what good, and it brings me back to that business stuff. It's like, what problem am I actually solving if I was to do that? And it put my valuable time and energy as a mum of 3. I have very little time and energy for anything else. So I have to be really strategic and plan about what I'm going to put my time and effort into. And so most of my time and effort actually goes into the doing side of things. And if talking to someone about something is going to help me get something done, then I will talk about it. But I'm less now this is what I'm doing, and it's more like, hey, this is what I've done, this is what I'm releasing. So what Justin said is like, do you just throw it out there? You're obviously going to have a marketing plan and you're going to have pre-sales and lots of stuff, but you're not saying, hey, I'm thinking of doing a movie in 10 years. Like, I don't go around saying, hey, I'm going to be touring with, I can't even think of anyone, Amy Sharp in 10 years, like whatever. I'm not going to, I don't tell people that because I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, but I will tell you what I've done. Like, I've just finished recording my first EP, yay. And like, and all that sort of
Thanks,
stuff.
Dom.
So, yeah. And like, who wants to be famous?
Lady Gaga said that to people, I'm going to be famous. And she had that, Lady Gaga talks about how that was her attitude as a young person. And she actually got taunted all through high school and university, and her classmates made a page like, Stephanie Jamada is never going to be famous, and like to rile against her. And it just goes to show like her determination and self-belief and her internal will to share her voice, she carried herself with an attitude overcoming the stuff. But
I think it's perfectly fine for someone to have an ambition to have money or to want to be famous. Like, everyone wants to be rich and famous, right? Like, that's a thing. But for me, or when someone says that to me, I am very quick to say, well, what do you want to be famous for? Or what do you want to have money for? Like, what are you going to do with it? Because money has actually got no value unless you're doing something with it. That is what it was designed for. And same with fame. It's like you're famous for a reason. And like a perfectly good example of like what this is like, I've had a friend who used to be like, yeah, I'm going to be famous. And he didn't really know why, but he just had this feeling that he was going to be famous. He really wanted to be famous. And then he had this major accident, which just got him really famous, but in a bad way, infamous, so can manifest things into our lives. Just like, you could have a full-time career doing music, doing cover gigs if you want. But if you just say, I want to be a full-time musician, but you don't specify what you want to be doing with your music, then you end up, you might not actually be where you really want. So when I say write it down, I've learned to be really clear about what I want to do and write it down. I want to earn a lot of money so that I can solve some problems that I think need solving or whatever it is. So, yeah.
Problem solver.
It's good. It's good.
Well, I think this saying comes to mind, for things to change, first things need to change. It's been said a lot. And over to Daniela. I've actually got 2 pens out for this one, so one for each hand.
Bilingual. You're doing one another languages.
So, what's your take about motivating? Obviously, I know I keep making
that's
fun
my
of you,
mom.
Here you go,
Hey,
Mum.
Mum.
Hey, Mum.
Hi, Mom.
Custard bananas.
Well said.
Time to make the custard bananas.
So your mum's Maltese.
No, my dad's Maltese. If anybody knows the Maltese saying, "Don't talk shit," can they share it to me?
We say the same thing. Don't worry. Yeah.
Oh, where are you from?
Don't give
Romania. So we're close to
Oh,
each
right.
other.
Is that near Czech Republic?
Yes.
Dobrý den.
Poland.
Do-
Oh,
Romania is where all the
don't-
really beautiful people come from.
Yeah.
wow.
I haven't met an ugly Romanian.
Do you know
once.
anyone, Daniela? No, just kidding.
Tonight's the night.
So yeah, on a serious note, obviously you would be working with people very closely about how the manifest. I've still got 2 pens in my hand. Anyway, how they actually.
We'll talk about it after.
Yeah, right. So manifesting, do they talk about it or just do it? What's your opinion?
Listen, I'm loving everyone's perspective because this is what it is. It's all how we operate. It's all how we choose to put ourselves forward. Self-sabotage is one of the biggest blockages to us manifesting of our reality. Our reality is only part of our inner thoughts. So what you're thinking is what is projecting out there. It's all happening like a beautiful movie reel, right? So when you are and especially as artists, we are perfectionists because we want the approval of the market, the audience, whoever we're presenting our stuff. So we're consistently gathering intelligence. Do this, do more work, put ourselves in there. The way that you're going to disrupt this is I'm going to tell you, just put it out there. I know it sucks, but I have launched many programs or coaching programs, and I honestly haven't even had the material ready. But people jumped on, which made me do what?
The work.
Stop this thinking bullshit in your head.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I need to have the perfect this. Oh, I need to have the perfect tagline. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to look this way. I need to lose 10 kilos before someone sees me on camera. It's a load of BS because it's only you that's in your way. It's only you that's in your way. People are waiting for you. If you actually saw that you're not looking for people. They're waiting for you. And you keep coming up with kind of excuse. So I take inspired action. I don't take stupidity action. I take inspired action every single morning. I ask, let's say, higher self-consciousness, what is it that I need to do today that's going to absolutely smash my self-sabotaging ways? Because we all have them. We live in the shadow world. Let's all get real. We're not all in this divinity place all the time going, oh, yes, no, I've got it all sorted out. It's not. We have triggers. And when we get triggered, when we have to do something, when we're asked to do something, you want to launch something, we all start figuring out how we're going to do it. How's it going to we're always asking the how instead of just, all right, well, this is the first little teeny tiny step I need to take. I'm going to take that and I'm going to destroy my old self-limiting beliefs that have held me back for decades. I've worked with women who have been struggling for nearly 50 years.
Wow.
To open their mouth and start to be who they are. It is traumatic, and they have had major meltdowns and said, I can't believe that I've waited this long, and the only thing that was in my way was myself.
And that's the answer to Veronica's question. That's how you get strong.
Right.
Yeah. Think, if you want to put Lady Gaga as an example, where was she performing? Down some basement in some dodgy place, playing her piano, right? It was shocking. She didn't care. She took inspired action every single time. That woman knew what she wanted from the day she opened her eyes. She knew that she had to create this person, as we call this persona, this brand, and she had people that were her role models. Who were her role models if we all look back? David Bowie. Let's have a look at David. He wasn't your normal. He was someone that took inspired action to be someone that was totally out there. He didn't give a toss about what anyone thought. That's what you have to start acting like. I only want to say that because...
But pay your musicians. Don't do what David Bowie did.
I don't know the background story about David Bowie, but what I do is I see them as artists who definitely didn't care about what others thought. And that was a big thing, because we as artists do care. Let's not say that we don't, because we do. We do.
Right.
And we easily can form and become something that we want our audience to expect to be. Don't do that either, because actually your audience is waiting for you to unlock them.
Yeah, say that again.
And
that was deep. That was deep. Say that again.
Your audience is waiting for you to unlock them, not you to
like a sexual innuendo to me.
They're waiting for you.
It's actually like your.
I just got it. See, my mind's like.
I'm gonna get 3 pence for that one.
They're waiting for you to unlock a part of them that has been hidden, suppressed, and they're going to walk away going, oh, wow, look what blah, blah, blah did, and I want to go and pursue my dream. My vocation is different to a job, right?
It's not that, Justin. It's not being a narcissist or a megalomaniac. It's not, but I mean, you can look at some of the things Lady Gaga did. You can look at what Bowie did and be a narcissist. You can look at pop stars and go narcissism, but
context.
There's a message behind Gaga, like a really deep message. Like she just released a song called "Rain on Me," and it's like the lyric is, "I'd rather be dry." I'm yelling in my house apparently. Sorry. I'd rather be dry, something like that. I'd rather be
Custard
dry
bananas.
than let it rain on me. So I think behind that lyric is talking about her alcoholism and her substance abuse, and Ariana Grande and her, they've both talked about how being with alcoholics has damaged their careers, and they've gone through substance abuse themselves. And so they're singing this song "Rain on Me," and it's a pop hit, but they're talking about like I'd rather be in the pouring rain and dry, like, you know, am I making sense? Like they're talking about their sobriety through pop music, and they're sharing that experience. So like it looks like they want to wear all the fancy clothes and they want to be the woman on top, but they really are pushing for a higher consciousness through dance as a soothing, and music as a soothing technique for the deeper shit that's really going on. And I mean, Bowie was doing that, but he was doing it for gender norms to shift, and he was doing it to break down like what monogamy looked like and what manhood looked like. And so that's why you couldn't really see, you have to really look to see what he was doing, and he talks about that in his interviews.
Yeah, wow. And any
I like what Veronica's saying there.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Authenticity empowers others to be authentic. Is that the one, Danielle?
And
if you learn a person's story as well.
Yeah.
Like,
this is I mean, very, 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 very deep. And I may as well just plug my record while I'm here. This is actually about my this is about the 5 stages of grief. So I lost my sister, and it's very, very deep record. And I went to uni. So this is the product of 2 years worth of work studying composition. Oh, there you go. There's a nice photo on the back. Look,
I've listened to it. Really.
You do?
I think you've done a really good job, Doug.
Thank you very much. So
different emotions.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much. And I know Jody already knows this, but Steve Vai's producer actually mastered my record, which is just mind-blowing.
Oh, cool.
So I've got a new record so I'm telling everyone, Daniela,
Get it out there.
I'm putting a new record out soon. So, you know, please listen to it. But maybe just one more round. A really strange thing happened. I had a video that went viral for me. I'm just name dropping. So, because I want to get all your marketing concepts about what is the most successful thing that's worked for you marketing wise. So I got to play, and I think Harry was there, Tara. I got to play in front of Tom Morello and Nino Betancourt, and someone filmed their reactions to my playing, and it went viral, and it converted nothing into the video world, but because I got so many hits on the video, everyone started listening to my music on Spotify. So I had this one track that had 20,000 hits within a week, which is just off the charts for me, which converted into about $19. However, true story. But my question is,
passion.
Yes, I love it. Yeah,
Nothing to do with the money.
yeah. And the irony was, it actually went to number 13 in the Indian iTunes chart, which is weird because I've never been to India or advertised in India. So
I love you in India.
Get it, India. That's right. That's what they said. So my question is, maybe closing question because the time has just flown. What has just been the one success story? And I really want to share this because anyone that's watching and will watch this in the rerun, you know, this is the story that everyone's going to hang out for. So what is a success story for you, Jody, that has kept you going? It's really lit your fire, so to speak.
A success story. As in marketing, something I've done with marketing?
Yeah, it can be with business or music. There's something that's converted. It's gone really amazingly well. Or a big gig or something.
Yeah, look, I am putting myself out there. I recently went and auditioned for Dicko, which I think he did the Australian Idol or something like that. One of those shows. Anyway, he was on the Gold Coast, though it was through a radio station, and I just thought, I'll just jump on this. And I went in, did the audition, got through, and I was the featured artist on the Almost Greatest gig.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. I don't know how many people were there, a few thousand. It was a big gig for me. And I got to work with some amazing musicians. They flew every musician. They had like 3 drummers. Yeah, 3 drummers, and they had all these different bands and things in there, you know, and they flew everyone in from Sydney or Melbourne, no one on the Gold Coast. I was the only Gold Coast featured artist, which I thought was really weird. Yeah, but so they did obviously 80s music and things like that, so I was asked to go along and sing at that. So it just come to mind because it was more recent. And that was held at Hotter. You know, the outdoor, they've got their new outdoor area at the Gold Coast Arts Centre.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool little opportunity.
Yeah, and that's going to turn into, obviously, more brand awareness for yourself.
Well, yeah, and, you know, I was hoping to obviously get my songs played on the radio, but they were too focused on the 80s at that time. But, no, it was good. I got to go into the radio station every day, do a plug, and that was like a 2-week lead up. So it was excellent marketing for me, and it was great. And then I just released my single at that time, so it was just off the back of all of that.
And do you have a record handy that we can have a look at?
Oh, I do. Give me a moment. I got to reach. Hang on.
Okay, we'll come back to you then, or not. That's cool. So maybe A-Row, or is Jody going to come back in a second?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Sorry,
A-Row.
Let me zoom in. Hang on.
I can't hear you. So this. Oh, did I butt in then?
Yeah, yes, you did, but that's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
This is my first album, which is available physically signed off my website. This is my EP that I did over in the US. And I've also got 2 singles out as well, which is all just digital, so you can get those on Spotify. But I encourage you to go on my website. You can see it down below, just there. Oh, it feels odd. There. And subscribe to my page. And I love your support.
That's way harder than you think.
It is. Yes. It's opposite.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that. That's good. So, A-Row, massive success story that's inspirational, is going to change the face of all your students.
My message is I just became the yes person, and I became a soloist saying yes. And because I was doing all the gigs that I could, I got a call to be a singer on the block. They were building gazebos for a wedding, and they needed some singers to host a mock wedding, and it was a competition. So another singer also got called, but I didn't know that at the time. So I left my chefing job, and I didn't know I had a streak of guacamole on my face, and my housemate sent my guitar and my pretty dress in a taxi to me, and I went off to the block where they were filming, and I did my little ukulele cover of Paul McCartney's song, till it was you, till there Till There Was You. Yeah. And it turned out that one of the guest judges for that show was the event organizer, David Grant, for the Olympics. And he had run 11 Olympics at that point. And it was just before they reunited the Spice Girls for the big London Olympics. So he became my Patreon, and he got me doing big gigs in Sydney. And if I hadn't have been the yes person that was like, I had the guts to call my head chef and be like, I'm not going to be at service. Somebody's just given me a call for a job and I'm going to go, I'm going to get it. And I was really uncomfortable, called my housemate, had an uncomfortable conversation with her, like, please put address in my guitar in the taxi and send it to my work, and I'll cook you a lasagna, or I'll do whatever I can for you. And, I had these uncomfortable conversations with the people, and I got there, and the kindness of a film crew guy was like, please wipe that guacamole off your face before I film you. And,
that's awesome.
I was wearing a silly headscarf then, and I'm wearing one now. And I just did my best, and David Grant could see that I'm the type of artist, like, I'm a singer, and it's like innate. Like, you can't stop me making music. I'm not doing it for any other reason other than it's like my left arm. I have to use it. I have to use my music. Otherwise it hurts my soul. Like, I feel an ache in my heart to not sing. So he really helped me move out of like just being the person kicking around Melbourne to being the person that could use Australia as a launch pad for the world. And so if you want to find my music now, my latest single is called Let's Get Started, and it's featured on Spotify with a producer called Austereo, Austero. He's a bass music producer. So if you go looking for that song, you're going to go down a rabbit hole of some sci-fi trance kind of like deep bass sounds. So make sure you're listening, not in your headphones, like listen in some good speakers, people, because that music's it's good.
Awesome. Well, great, and a great story. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Remote coordination and taking on a limb. That's an awesome story. So over to Tara, closing story, success story.
I think for me, when I first started in the industry, I was doing it to help Harry, and I didn't ever see it as something that I was doing beyond what I did for him. I never saw myself as a mummager, and I saw myself as helping him. And I say it because I was at a networking learning type event, and I had somebody who I thought was in a position of influence and respect within the industry, who told me that a couple of things, but basically I'm not a musician. Okay. So being a non-musician, being older, being a woman, and doing a degree when I'm not really from the industry, and being a mummager, there'll never really be a place for me.
And about that, you can still crowd surf.
So it was harsh, and it really took me a long time to understand what my role is here,
Yes.
and
thank you for being vulnerable. That's good.
Yeah,
people underestimate what us mums can do.
Yeah, exactly. And I see my role as beyond what I do for Harry. I see I have a responsibility, because the number of people who come up to me and say, how can I do what you do, or how can my kid do what your kid does? Or older musicians who say, I wish I had a parent that supported me the way you do him.
I've said that to you.
So I see my role in the industry is to support not just the young people coming through. And when I say young, I'm referring to young in the industry. I'm talking about people who, they may have done their real job and gone and got the degree that their parent wanted them to get. They might have, done all that stuff, but now they're doing what they want to do. So they're new to the industry and they need those supports. And the mums and dads who want to support their kids but don't know how because they are also not familiar with the industry. And so I just felt that I've attended everything where there was an opportunity to learn anything. And then I went and did and I've been doing my study for the last 4 years. And I've really thrown myself into knowing everything I possibly can about this industry. And in doing that, Harry nominated me for this Industry Observer Guardian Award. And I thought that was really sweet. Well, I became a finalist. So I got to go down to Sydney. I had my face on one of the big screens at the SCG, and
You deserve it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was me, and there was 4 other finalists, and all the so there was, Harry being a little, a local musician who hadn't really achieved, anything beyond the Gold Coast particularly, or certainly, probably Gold Coast at that point. And the people that were also the finalists were the parents of every single one of them had been of major renown. The guy that won it was Ruel's dad,
Oh, wow.
and it was like, dude, I'm in that company, and it's like, that's actually pretty awesome. So yeah, that's my little thing that made me think,
Well
I'm going
done.
to do it.
Yeah.
So I figured I must be doing something right, and that really gave me the motivation to, give
Keep
the
going.
bird to those people that want to be the naysayers, and and move on from that.
Very
Yeah.
good. Thank you for that, and congratulations.
Hey, thanks.
And Ray,
Well
yeah,
done.
you're welcome. I've got a point here, maybe related. Given your experience at music festival, are there that would particularly recommend visual artists? Oh, yeah, we'll come back to that.
Jerome
okay.
Street in Melbourne. The Projection Festival in Melbourne.
There we go.
Just there you go. Go to that.
Arrows, all right. So Ray Lee, closing comment on most successful thing that's happened.
Most successful thing that's happened. For me, in my very short music career space, I'd actually have to say the most successful thing for me personally, and this is probably nothing to a lot of people out there, but the most successful thing I could say I've done is go and sing and perform an original song in public at an open mic night. And I know that didn't generate any money or anything like that, but for me, that was a huge step that took me 31 years to be able to do. And it was
Well done.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
self-development.
Little steps, Daniela, taking that first step. That's
Well,
what she
I've
was
taken
talking
my
about earlier. Do you know what I mean? And now you've done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've done it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and since then I've released songs and I'm recording and just believing in myself a lot more. But I had to do a lot of work, and like Veronica's been saying, you don't really get anywhere without working yourself. So for me, the most successful moments in my life so far, and my music and my art is my life and my journey, and I'm sharing that, like Daniela said, to share and light a way for other people who've been through the same thing. But my journey is I came from an 8-year child sexual abuse life, and it's really heavy. And having kids at a really young age pushed me into I either have to deal with this or I pretend like it doesn't exist and I get really depressed. And I didn't want to be shut down emotionally raising my children because I knew that wasn't a great way to teach them how to deal with their emotions. So I forced myself to deal with mine. And I dealt with mine through my music, and that's where my art comes from. And that's why I wrote songs for 15 years and didn't sing for anyone, was because it was my way of dealing with my trauma. So to share that personal journey and that story that was really, really deep for me, to be able to share that through my music in public, that was
That's
like,
huge.
I can do anything now, you know?
Well done.
Yeah,
Well
that was
done.
a really big thing for me. But I know it seems
Wow.
really simple, but yeah, probably my biggest.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad Daniela's next after that one. Cool. So I've
Doug.
actually found every pen I can find. So I'm going to write down
Bless your
everything you
heart.
say.
Bless your heart. Do you know what? I'm actually really inspired about hearing everyone's story because if we're seeing here that there is a thing. Well, what do we say? I don't know what the word is right now. It's getting past my bedtime. But see how we're all opening up about our trauma, and as artists, we can only express ourselves musically with that thing that's inside of us. That's what we find as our biggest overcoming thing. And I can relate to everyone with that because I've gone through my own trauma as well as a kid. And the only thing I had for healing was music. I didn't have anything else. So, you know, when you go and you perform your heart and your experience, that really awards, whatever, it doesn't matter because you have opened yourself up. And I think that's the biggest thing to do. Like, it's the biggest, because you've put yourself out there. So I have to say, as women, we hold a lot of this stuff in. Okay, and we're and you know, I know that even men, like, you know, not very open that, but women hold trauma. We hold it, and it's sitting and it's simmering, and the only way we can express it is through our creative flair. And when we allow ourselves to do that, that's when we become invincible because we've just opened up the portals. It's like, here we are. Here's my story. Here's my song. Here's what I stand for, and I'm great at this. And I'm very proud of every person in here doing that. So that just gets me excited because I like to see people succeed. So
getting to the.
I know,
thank you,
I've gone off
for
somewhere.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So the most successful thing, is it something you've helped someone else achieve, or yourself? What's the most successful thing that keeps you motivated?
I have always been a person that is very, very visionary. I see big picture. And as a kid, I've always worked in the kids' music field. So I've always loved working with kids. And, you know, I had the opportunity in my earlier years to co-create a kids pop group. And we did very well. But we didn't understand the industry, as most of us don't when we sign a contract. That's when it doesn't get fun. But I got to do the things that I love to do. Obviously, I got to experience life as a musical recording artist by a record label, and we got, you know, an ARIA nomination. We had a whirlwind, and it was very short-lived. But what it taught me is that if I put my mind to something, I can create whatever I want. Whatever I want. So my next move from that was I was very disappointed. Let me tell you, I got crushed by
What was that song what's that song you're talking about? What was that song? Can you sing that song again?
What's your ARIA nomination song?
You don't want to know.
I do.
It's kids music. Kids music.
I think I know. You tell me though. You tell me because I think I know.
No.
Close enough.
Did it go?
We had a hit.
I say YouTube link. YouTube.
Yeah. What's the name of the song?
Dinosaur?
Yeah.
No. Don't make me do this.
What is it?
We had a hit song called "Life Is Fun." Amika was signed to ABC Music under the Wiggles. There was the Wiggles and there was us. It was a whirlwind experience, and we were very new to the industry. But from that, it taught me everything about being an artist, really, because I was crushed at the same time, so went into a very big depression, as most of us do. You're in the limelight, then you just nothing. Yay! No one cares anymore.
Right.
And I hid for 10 years. I raised my children. I said my children come first. And then someone had said to me, go and put yourself on your Facebook page and sing. And I said, yeah, no, we don't do that. We don't sing anymore. We don't do any of that kind of thing. No, thank you. And they said, no, just don't even put your face. Just put the lyrics or something. Like, just upload a video and just sing. And I said, oh, that's so traumatic for me right now after all that I've been through. And they said, well, if you don't do it now, you're going to stay in that situation most of your life and be in regrets. So I basically uploaded a very bad, like, honestly, I don't produce music. So I just created it, sang it. It was a 2-minute song. And I said with my firstborn, I said, wouldn't it be funny if we got 500 views? And he goes, oh, Mum, all we've got to do is just pray. And I'm like, really? I'm like, no way. I have no likes on my Facebook page. No one knows what the heck's going on. I went to bed, and in the morning I woke up and there was over 5,000 views. And I said, someone's done a glitch here. Something's wrong. I don't know what's going on. So I contacted one of my friends in the USA and I said, can you explain this to me? She goes, oh, your video just got shared by a big something or other who had like 500,000 followers. So all of those followers watched that flippin' video and it went viral. And then people said, where's the music? Where's more music? I had nothing. I was like, oh, I better go find a producer. Oh, I better go find something to do.
Oh, wow.
And then they said, do you have a course? And I'm thinking, what's a course? A course of what? Do you have an online course? So I created a course. See, this is what happens when you take that action and people start asking you, you then go, I better do it, because that's where it, and so this is where it all, it just led to these opportunities. And actually I did have one bucket list dream. I don't know if anyone remembers in the era of the 80s or 90s, Leon Berger, who used to have Coup d'etat, Too Young for Promises was a big hit in the 80s. And I used to sing that song as a kid and with my hairbrush. And my dad used to walk in the house, in the room, and go, what are you doing? And too young, too, whatever the song was, you know, I want to work. One day I'm going to work with Leon Berger and I'm going to create a whole album. And my parents just looked at me and said, you're crazy. Well, I ended up funding my own album with Leon Berger, and we worked together for 2 years creating music, which I haven't released yet because timing for me is very important, because it's music to heal the heart. And I just feel it's not yet. But he said to me, you know, for 20 years we hadn't spoken, and I emailed him, and I actually thought, to be honest with you, he wasn't alive anymore, because he was already like on the way out, like seriously. And he said to me, Daniela, where have you been? And I said, I don't know, Leon, but are you still around? He goes, yeah, come into the studio. And we hit it off like it was 18 years ago when I first, he took me under his wing when I was 18. And that's when it all started. You know, this is the thing. Things come back around and they give you another chance. Take it. Take it.
Right. Well, awesome story. I'm going to work on my moves and show you next time I do a TikTok. So you've inspired me. But please stay on the line. Please stay on the line. And be prepared. There you go. Be prepared for success. There you go. I want to thank you all.
Justin said.
And thank you. That's unfolding for me. Yeah, it feels organic. Very, very. But if everyone would, sorry, this has taken over 2 hours. I expected an hour, and this has been so cool.
Every time you have women, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hold on, Doug. It's not. It's a 24-hour live. Didn't we tell you that? This just keeps going.
Yeah, I need another drink.
We're going to do some songs. We're going to have some
I bought the wrong drink for that one. I only bought tea. Yeah, but please wave on the way out. Please wave. Everyone wave, but don't hang up.
Hello, Mum.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Mum. Hello,
custard.
But please stay on the line. Oh, here we go. There's Mum. Great work, everybody. Thanks for sharing. Enjoyed all your stories. Thanks, Mum.
She's beautiful.
And thanks, Dom.
Celeste.
But we might have to do this again. This is really, really informative. I learned a heap. So I'll talk to you all in a second. But stay on the line. Here we go. Ready. Waving. There we go. So thank you. I'm still waving. I don't know why I'm the only one here. So please like and subscribe all the artists. If there's any more questions, please type it in and put @ and just follow everyone and support the arts. This has been great. This has been mind-blowing, actually. I thought this was going to be over and out probably about an hour ago. However, it was so deep. Hey, I just remembered to put this up. So I need some followers on my YouTube page. And some deep stuff was covered about being an original artist in music business, and actually really deep stuff about business, full stop. I will see you again next time.